We all have used lasers at some point in our life, either in CD player or in computers, in laser pointer we use in PowerPoint presentation. So we use laser in our daily life. So today in this video we are going to see laser. The word laser is the acronym for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Here the laser uses the principle of stimulated emission. We will see this later. In 1917, Einstein predicted the possibility of stimulated emission, and in 1960, Theodor Maiman made this happen with the first invention of a laser. So you may think, what is the specialty in laser? So what is the difference between ordinary light and the laser? And there are so many applications. Why laser has so many applications? So watch this video and you will get the answer. We know that in an atom, the electrons will be in the ground state, which is the stable one for that. The electron will be orbiting in the ground state without releasing any energy. Now, when we give some energy to the electron, what happens? The electron will be absorbing the energy and it goes to the higher energy state, absorbing the energy. So it will come to this higher energy state. The electron will make excitation only when the energy is equal to the difference between these two energy levels. So now the electron is in the higher excited state. It cannot stays in the excited level for a long time. So what happens? It makes downward transition, releasing the energy in the form of photon. So this is a case of atom. When we talk about material, there are so many atoms, similar atoms. So atoms, hereafter we will be saying like atom excite and atom de-excite. So when we give some energy to a material, what happens? Three quantum mechanical process takes place. One is absorption. Second one is spontaneous emission. And the third one is stimulated emission. Let us see this one by one. So absorption. Here let us consider the energy levels. So this is the ground state. This is the excited state. Let E1 be the energy of the ground state and E2 be the energy of the excited state. Now, when a photon of energy h nu equal to E2 minus E1 falls on the medium, what happens? The atom in the ground state absorbs the energy and make upward transition. This process is called absorption. As we are giving some external energy, this is also called as stimulated absorption or induced absorption. Here the excited atom, now it is in the excited state, it stays in the excited state for a short interval of time. For example, it stays there for 10 raised to minus 8 seconds. After that, it comes to the ground state, releasing the energy. So after 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, the excited atom makes a downward transition, releasing the photon. So this process takes place spontaneously, and that's why it is called as spontaneous emission. There is also another process which is stimulated emission. Here in this case, the excited atom, the atom here now it is in the excited state. The excited atom can be made to have a downward transition with the help of external energy. That is, when we give a photon of energy h nu equal to the difference in the higher and lower band gap, that is the difference in the E2 minus E1, what happens? The excited atom makes downward transition, releasing the excess energy along with this. So we get two photons having same wavelength, and these two photons are in same direction. So this principle is used in laser. The spontaneous emission cannot be controlled because it happens spontaneously, but stimulated emission can be controlled with the external factors. And also the output from the stimulated emission will be highly monochromatic, and it is coherent and it is directional. And that is why this process is used in laser. The outstanding feature of the stimulated emission is multiplication of photons. Here, as you see, one photon is de-exciting another photon, and we get two photons, and these two photons trigger another two atoms, and when they de-excite, they release four photons. So multiplication of photons takes place, and so light amplification happens. That is why stimulated emission have more preference. Let N1 be the number of atoms in the ground state, and N2 be the number of atoms excited state. Normal condition is the ground state will be having more number of atoms compared to the excited state. That is, N1 will be greater than N2 in normal condition. But in order to make stimulated emission to happen, we should make N2 more than N1. So that is, N2 means number of atoms in the excited state should be made more than the number of atoms in the ground state. So making N1 more than the ground state, making the number of atoms in the excited state more than the number of atoms in the ground state is called population inversion. So lasing action takes place only when population inversion is achieved. So that is, making the number of atoms in the excited state or the higher energy state more than the ground state is called population inversion. Only when population inversion is achieved, lasing action takes place. So how can we make population inversion? Population inversion can be achieved with the help of metastable state. Metastable state is a state in which the atoms the excited atom stays there for a long time. Earlier I said that the excited atom will be in the excited energy level for only 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, but here in the metastable state, the excited atom stays for a longer time, that is 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 raised to minus 6 seconds. So when the atom stays there, what happens? Population inversion takes place. So when population inversion takes place, lasing action automatically happens. So these are the three mechanism happens when light interacts with the matter. There are three main components for laser. They are active medium, pumping source and optical resonator. We can see this one by one. Active medium. This active medium is also called as amplifying medium. Here in active medium, population inversion takes place. Not all atoms support population inversion. Only few atoms support having some different characters support population inversion. So, here in active medium, population inversion takes place, and so lacing action takes place in this medium. Next comes pumping source. In order to achieve population inversion, we need to raise the atom from the ground state to the excited state. This can be done with the help of a pumping source. The pumping source excites the atom from ground state to the excited state. So, there are so many different types of pumping source, optical pumping source, electrical pumping source, then X-ray pumping source, chemical pumping source. They are used to make population inversion in this active medium. Then comes optical resonator. The output or the photons or the light emitted from the active medium should be passed back and forth within the medium in order to have an amplification. So, this can be done with the help of a optical resonator. So, what is an optical resonator? Here it is nothing but we use two mirrors. One is 100% reflecting and the other one is partially reflecting. So, what happens? Light from the active medium is just comes out here, and when it comes back here, it is reflected by this mirror, and so it again goes inside the medium, and it trigger another few atom to de-excite, and in such a way it goes back and forth within the light goes back and forth within the active medium. And what happens when the light becomes highly intense? It comes out as laser. So, without the help of this optical resonator, we cannot get laser, because light in this way, in this path, can alone get intense, because there are all photons released in this direction too. They are not reflected back. Only the photons emitted in this path, that is between the optical resonator, is reflected back and forth between in this active medium, and so we get the laser light. So, the output laser will be highly intense. It is highly directional. It is coherent, as the wavelength are in phase, and they have same wavelength and they are in phase with each other, and they are monochromatic. So, because of these properties, laser have wide applications. Like we see in medical field, we have cataract surgery and eye surgery, and so many treatments are ongoing with the help of laser. Also in industries, we see welding, cutting, and all these are done with the help of laser. Because of the intense light, we can use those for cutting heavy metals, And also for communication we can use lasers because it is monochromatic and directional. We can use laser for communications. And all these properties makes the laser highly useful in the application. Like these, like I said, in the industrial purpose and medical field, communication, and so many things. Few examples of lasers are ruby laser, helium neon laser, then semiconducting laser, so ruby laser is a solid laser, helium neon laser is a gas laser, and semiconducting diode laser is a it's a semiconductor laser. These are the few examples of laser. The active these are categorized based on the active medium, because the active medium can be either solid or gas or in the liquid form. So based on this we can say that whether the laser is a solid laser or gas laser, or it's a semiconducting laser, or it is a liquid laser. So these are the few examples of laser. So now I hope you get the answer why laser is different or laser is special than ordinary light. Thank you.